Alright guys, so in this video I just want to jump into React.js and just give you an example of creating a really simple component, and we'll look at some properties and just the real basics of React components. Now this doesn't have anything to do with React Native yet. We're going to get into that in a little bit, but we're just going to go ahead and set up a very simple React application. So I'm at facebook.github.io/react, and if we go to get started, and we want to click on, let's see, right here, installation, and this will give us a couple ways to install React. We're going to use the create React app tool, which makes it really simple to generate an application. Now you do need to have Node.js installed. If you don't, just go to nodejs.org, go ahead and download and install that. Alright, so let's go ahead and open up a command line. Alright, and I'm going to go to where I want to create this simple project. So I'm going to go to projects, and let's go ahead and we need to install the create React app tool. So we're going to say npm install, make sure we add -g for global, and then create -react -app. Okay, so that'll install it globally on your system, so you'll be able to access it from anywhere. Alright, and I already had it installed, that's why it went so quick. Alright, so now what we want to do is just create an application. So we can say create React -app, and then we would just want to name it. Let's just say my React app. Alright, so that might take a couple minutes. It's going to go ahead and generate all the files and folders for us. Alright, so that took a couple minutes. Now we're going to cd into my React app, and then to start it up we want to do npm start. Alright, so that opened on a different window. There we go. So that's our starter React app. Okay, again, we're not into React Native yet. This is strictly just React.js. Alright, so I'm going to just open up the folder in my editor here. Let's see, my React app, and I'm using Visual Studio Code, which is a free open source editor, which is really nice, has a lot of features, and also has some really good code highlighting and some extra bells and whistles. So if we look at the folders here, we have a public folder where the HTML file is. And if you see, we have a div with the ID of root. That's basically where React is rendering. If we look in the source folder, that is where we have our main app component. If we look at app.js, you can see we're importing React. And then we have a class called app, which extends component, which comes from React. All right, and then down here we have a div, and you can see we're using class name instead of class. That's because this is JSX, okay, so we can't use the class attribute. Now I'm going to just pretty much blow all this away because I want to start fresh, so we'll get rid of that. We don't need the logo file here. Get rid of that. Save it, and let's see, we're going to delete the logo.svg file. And we should be good to go. So what we're going to do is create another component. We're not going to use the main app component, although if we were to type something in here, we'll say test, save, and you can see that's going to show up. So what I'm going to do is create a folder in the source folder called components. Okay, and let's go ahead and create a file, and we'll call this, let's just call it component 1.js. Alright, and let's go ahead and import React component from React. Alright, and then we can create our class. So we'll say class component 1, and that's going to extend component. All right, and then what we want to do here is have a render. Okay, just like we saw on the slide. And then we'll return. Let's see, we'll return. I'm going to open up some parentheses here, and in here we'll put a div. And let's put an H1, and we'll say hello world. Then down here we're going to export the class, so we'll say export default component 1. Alright, so we'll save that, and then we'll go back to app.js, which is our main component, and we're going to just import. We'll say import component 1 from, and that's going to be in the components folder slash component 1, and we don't need to put JS. Alright, and then we should be able to throw that in right here, like that, and let's save it, and there we go. So now we're getting our hello world. Open up the console and we have no errors. So we created a simple component. Now things in React Native will be a little different. For instance, we're going to be using view elements and text elements. It's a little different, but I do want to just get you familiarized with the structure of a component and just how it works under the hood. And I'm sure a lot of you already know this. If you do, then that's fine. Just use it as a refresher. Alright, so properties. We can pass properties in. So if we want to, right here, we'll pass in, let's say, message. And we'll set that to hi there. Okay, and if we go to our component, we should be able to go ahead and replace that and say this.props.message. Save it, and we get hi there. Now we could use this component multiple times if we want. So if I were to copy that, okay, so this one will say hi Brad, this one will say goodbye. So if we were to save that, you'll see that all three of those components are going to render on the screen. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and stop here now that you've seen how to create a basic React component. So in the next video, we're going to take a look at another really important part of React, and that is state. Alright, so we'll do that, and then we can move on to React Native, get it set up, and start to work with that.